Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to walk through some really powerful, but also very practical techniques to help you get a real handle on your Mandarin pronunciation. If you've been wanting to go from feeling a bit confused to feeling truly confident when you speak, then you are in exactly the right place.
You know, for so many of us learning the language, this is the biggest wall we hit. You drill the four tones, you think you've got them, but then when you actually try to speak, something just feels off. Sound familiar? It's a super common frustration, but I promise there's a much, much better way to think about it.
And right here, this is the big idea for today. This is the secret. The real key to sounding natural isn't about perfectly mastering four separate tones all by themselves. No, it's about mastering how those tones flow together, how they connect in real two-syllable words.
Okay, so let's start right there with this really foundational shift in how we think. To build that clear pronunciation we're all after, we first need a new way of seeing how tones actually work when people are talking.
This lays it out perfectly. You see, the old way, drilling single tones, is kind of like trying to learn a song by just practicing one musical note at a time. It feels disconnected. But the new way, focusing on tone pairs, well, that's like practicing the actual chords. It's how the music and the language is actually made. This is so important. Native speakers don't really hear individual tones. They hear the melody of a word, and that melody is created by the tone pair.
So how do we make this practical? We use a simple but really powerful technique called tone pair anchors. The idea is this. For every possible combination of tones, you pick one common word and you master it. Just one. That word then becomes your go-to reference point, your mental and muscle memory anchor for that specific pattern every time you see it.
Now, let's be honest. Some pairs are definitely tougher than others. On this slide, we've got 5 of the most common ones that trip people up. I really suggest you spend a little extra time with these. For example, that third tone followed by a second tone in Lao Shi, that one's famously tricky. If you can get these 5 down, you'll have already conquered some of the hardest parts.
Okay, so we've got the new mindset. We're thinking in pairs. Now let's turn that idea into a real routine. Think of this next part as your daily workout for your mouth. It's all about building that muscle memory so clear pronunciation becomes automatic.
And here's the best part. You don't need to block out hours for this. Real improvement comes from consistency. This simple 3-step drill, just a few minutes every single day, it's going to have a huge compounding effect over time. Start with a quick warm-up for your mouth, then jump into shadowing. We'll talk more about that in a second. And finally, and this is key, record yourself. It might feel a little weird at first, but it is the best way to catch your own mistakes.
So what is this shadowing thing? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. You listen to a native speaker and you try to talk right along with them, like you're their shadow. If that's too tricky at first, just start with chorusing, where you just listen to one sentence, pause, and repeat it back. The goal here is to be a perfect mirror. You want to match their rhythm, their speed, their melody, everything, 100%.
And this quote is so important for your practice. It's so much more effective to take one short audio clip and shadow it 20 times than it is to shadow 20 different clips just one time. Let that sink in. Real mastery comes from deep, deep repetition, not from constantly looking for new stuff.
All right, now let's talk about the mental side of things. Because, your ability to physically make the sounds, that's only half the story. Your mindset, what you expect from yourself, and even how much tension you're holding in your body, all of that plays a huge role in how you actually sound.
So here are 4 key things to keep in your mind. First, and this is a big one, relax. Tension is the #1 enemy of natural-sounding speech. Second, aim for clarity, not perfection. The goal is to be understood, not to sound like you were born in Beijing. Third, expect things to sound different than your textbook. Real life has accents and variations. And finally, be kind to yourself. Your pronunciation will be better on some days than others, especially if you're tired. That's totally normal.
I want you to try something. Watch a native speaker talk. Notice how their mouth and face are pretty relaxed. Now think about yourself. A lot of us learners, we try so hard to make these new sounds that we tense up our whole face. We strain. But that tension actually makes it harder to speak clearly. If your face feels tired after practicing, you're probably trying too hard.
Please, let this quote really sink in. It's such a powerful reminder of what's actually important. Communication. Your ability to share your ideas, to connect with another person, that is so much more valuable than having a flawless accent. Don't ever let the hunt for perfection keep you from actually speaking.
All right, let's bring all these pieces together now and map out a clear path forward that you can literally start on the second you're done listening.
This is maybe the most encouraging takeaway of all. You do not need to quit your job or clear your schedule for hours on end. A small, focused, and, most importantly, consistent effort, as little as 10 minutes a day. That is what builds momentum. That is what creates real, lasting change in how you speak.
So let's recap the absolute essentials. First, from now on, think in tone pairs, not single tones. Second, build that short, daily practice habit. Warm up, shadow, and record. Third, remember to relax. Go for clarity over perfection. And fourth, above all else, be patient with yourself and be consistent in your practice. And that really brings us to the end. You have the knowledge now, but the real progress, that comes from taking action. So I have a question for you. Out of everything we've covered, what is the one single thing you'll try, just for a few minutes, today? Because that is where your journey to clarity truly begins.